Hello. Welcome back to Xanthus Gaming. We're here today in Soulstone Survivors with another build guide. This one is for the Chaos Walker's new ability. It is super duper crazy strong, both the secret ability as well as the default ability for the new weapon. They're both just very strong. I believe at the end of this run, my Aura of Chaos did 9 billion damage, and my Seeking Chaos Missiles did 16 billion damage. We got to Endless 5, and we're going to go over exactly how to build this particular setup right now. So the first thing that we are going to look at is going to be the runes. So the runes that we're using with this build are Multicast Mastery, Secret Weapon, Generalist, and Recklessness, as well as Reaper. Executioner. The reason that we're using Multicast Mastery is we're going to be building mostly missiles throughout this build, and just having missiles fly everywhere multiple times is super duper strong. Also, your Aura of Chaos can multicast, and the more times it casts, the more damage it does across the entire screen, because we're going to be stacking this thing to a point where it covers the entire screen. Secret Weapon gives you your Seeking or your Aura right away, so that you have early access to that damage and you don't have to try to find it yourself. Generalist gives you an 85% damage boost in combination with Chromatic Bolt. We spoke about this in previous videos, but basically TLDR, if you didn't see those, is that Generalist gives you 5% damage per damage type. Chromatic Bolt has a bunch of different damage types. It results in about 85% damage boost. By far and away the biggest damage boost you can get, other than Recklessness, or Relentlessness rather, which is the next one in the list. Basically it gives you 1% increased damage for every 2 missing HP. I think I end up 500 or 600 HP by the end of this run, so you can imagine if you have 600 HP and you're missing 500 of it, that's a 250% damage boost, which is crazy. So whenever you grab HP, you're also grabbing damage. It just is super strong. And then Executioner, since we are a Chaos build, we're stacking up debuffs. Since we're hitting the entire screen all the time with our Aura and we have missiles flying everywhere, we pretty much have permanent max stacks of everything on everything. So yeah, it's really good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the different abilities we're going to use next. So our Seeking Chaos ability that we start with is like a fountain of missiles that shoots out from your character and heat seeks the nearest targets. When you get multicast on it, obviously if you're multicasting 4 or 5 times, instead of casting 2 missiles per cast, you're casting 8 to 10 missiles per cast. This means that you stack up a lot of debuffs on bosses very quickly if you get close to them. Super duper strong. Again, this ability did 16 billion damage by the end. Far and away the most damage of any of the abilities. Anytime that you can find things that increase the damage of this or generically increase the damage of missiles, you definitely want to take it. Cooldown reduction, it starts at 0.4 seconds on cooldown. You can get down to 0.2 with a good amount of cooldown reduction, which essentially doubles its damage. I was not able to get down to 0.1. You might be able to, but I feel like it's going to take an absurd amount of cooldown reduction to do that. Aura of Chaos is going to be hitting an area around you. We're going to want to stack as much area of effect as we can on this in order to have it cover the entire screen. As you can see here, it's covering about 3/4 of the screen at this point. By the end, I have it covering pretty much the entire screen. Honestly, you can stop at this point. You don't need to make it cover the entire screen. This is perfectly sufficient. But yeah, basically you're just constantly applying a whole heck of a lot of debuffs to everything and doing a whole heck of a lot of damage to everything. It's super duper strong. Chromatic Bolt is there because not only is it a stat stick that gives us an 85% damage multiplier, but it also ricochets up to 50 meters, heat-seeking targets and applying negative debuffs, and does a decent amount of damage itself. So very strong ability. It is a missile as well, as are most of our abilities, allowing us to stack synergy with getting plus damage on missiles, plus area on missiles, plus cooldown reduction on missiles, yada yada yada. Very strong ability. Chaos Bolt is also a missile. It will shoot out a frontal projectile bolt that once it hits a target, it'll split into 2 smaller bolts. All 3 bolts apply debuffs. And as you know, our main idea with this build is stack as many debuffs as we can, as quick as we can in order to do damage, and this helps us accomplish that. I'm going to skip over the Chaos Bomb for now because that one's an optional one a different thing that you could do as well, and let's look at the arcane missiles next. Arcane missiles apply stacks of brittle. Brittle stacks are super duper crazy strong. It will not apply brittle stacks from any of your chaos abilities or from chromatic bolt. The only way that you can apply brittle is through either holy beam or magic missiles. There might be another one, I can't remember, but anyway, we're going to use magic missiles because we're already using missiles. Here you can see what the game looks like. Hold on, I'm going to pause so you can see. This is what the game looks like when your transparency isn't turned down. Isn't that insane? I'll just rewind it again for a second so you can see it again. You end up getting so many debuffs or so many abilities and so much multicast that you just kind of flood the screen with abilities. It's kind of nuts. Here, I turn it up. It's actually ridiculous. Beautiful, but there's no way you'd be able to see to avoid anything. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Magic missiles apply brittle. They also pierce through enemies, so you can kind of aim them and skewer entire groups of enemies and just destroy things. Since you're already applying tons of debuffs elsewhere, your brittle just amplifies the damage of all of that you're applying. If you happen to get lucky and find weakness, which is something that doubles your stacks applied, it's super strong, because then you're doing so much damage. It's actually just bonkers. This is the primary way we kill bosses. So your two big power spikes in damage when you're building this initially. When you find chromatic bolts, you get that 85% damage multiplier, and right there, that's a massive spike in damage. And then when you find magic missiles, that's another massive spike in damage for being able to delete elites and bosses. So super strong ability. The last ability that we use is either Chaos Bomb or Manifestations of Chaos. Manifestations of Chaos is nice because it's a constant application of debuffs on the target and constant damage consistently throughout the entire map. You're just going to have those manifestation circle missile balls floating all over the place at all times, applying damage. Very strong ability. On this particular run, I decided to use Chaos Bomb instead, because that's what I found first and I got some good bonuses for it, so I went with it. It actually is very strong as well, since we're scaling lots of area of effect on all of our other stuff. This basically means that when we take generic area of effects, we're increasing the area of effect of Chaos Bomb. You can get it so it covers pretty much the entire screen. I believe by the end of this, I had the cooldown low enough on it that it was casting pretty consistently and it was covering most of the screen. Ooh, that's a little glitchy. I don't know what that was. It was covering most of the screen and just constantly firing off. Chaos Bomb is really good burst damage, so it allows you to do targeted damage against bosses. Since it is a frontal ability, you can aim it. So that's a nice advantage of it as well. I think that Chaos Manifestations and Chaos Bomb are about the same power levels from my testing. One doesn't seem significantly stronger than the other, so you could really go with whichever one you wanted to, and it would be good. So either way, whatever floats your boat, go with that. The last thing that we are going to look at is stat priorities. So we've already kind of discussed some specific stat priorities. Anytime you can increase the damage of your Seeking Chaos ability, you want to do that. Anytime you can reduce the cooldown of your Seeking Chaos ability, you want to do that until it's 0.2. Obviously, Aura of Chaos is of the utmost importance for damage multiplication and area as well. But outside of those specific niche skill specific things, kind of what you want to look for is building area, general area up if you're using Chaos Bomb, or Aura area if you're using Manifestations of Chaos. And that's going to make it so your aura covers the entire screen. It should be noted that the manifestations from Chaos also scale from area of effect too, so it's a good generic skill to get area on as well. Multicast is going to allow you to get lots and lots of casts off, so you want to stack as much as you can of it. I can't remember where I ended up here, but I want to say it's like 500 or 600. You can certainly go higher. Multicast mastery helps mitigate the diminishing returns to a degree, so it's super strong, honestly. You want to get cooldown reduction on your aura until it's up permanently. You don't want any downtime on that thing. It doesn't take very much to get there though. Crit, you want to build it all the way up to 100 because there are synergies that apply off of crits, and it should be noted that dots can crit. So you'll do a lot more damage if you stack your crit. Frailty is going to apply a damage multiplier to targets, and since you're hitting everything very quickly all the time, you're going to stack up that frailty super duper quickly. You can feel free on this build to take multiple ranks of frailty. It will be effective. I think by the end of this I have 11 or 12 stacks, and it definitely served me well. You want to make sure you grab one of each debuff type outside of frailty. You don't really need to stack any of the others. You could maybe stack the Doom one, but I don't think it's worth it. I think just frailty and then raw stats otherwise are kind of your focus. You also want to grab all the different debuff synergies. So for instance, if you apply poison, apply bleed. If you apply dazed, apply burn, all those kind of things. It'll just help you get all those stacks up on those bosses that much quicker. And then, of course, with Recklessness, max HP is always a priority. On this run, I get like 500 or 600 HP. Every 2 points of HP you get is 1% damage increase once you take damage. Plus, it just helps you survive so you don't get one shot instantly by a boss ability. Wow, those bosses just spawned. Look how quickly they went down. And this is an Endless 4 on max difficulty. That's bonkers. 4 of them spawned, and a few seconds later, there's just one left. That's crazy. Yeah, this build is super, super, super strong. So I'm going to let the remainder of the video play out. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit so you can see the last stage that I managed to clear through. And you can see the damage numbers at the end, so you can kind of tell where we ended up. But this is your video reminder to like, favorite, share, subscribe, comment down below, and all that good stuff. It really does help out the channel. I very, very much appreciate all the support we've been getting from the Soulstone survivors community. It's been consistent and really awesome, so thank you guys. I really appreciate it. We're working on rebuilding this community with a focus on bullet heavens, ARPGs, and survival games. Right now we're pretty much just playing bullet heavens, but there will definitely be ARPG content as well as survival game content in the near future. We do some auto battlers as well, so if any of those things tickle your fancy, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and click that little bell so you get notified. Comment down below if you would prefer to see more build guides, or if you'd like raw gameplay with commentary. I could definitely do that as well. Just kind of let me know what you guys want to see. I can make whatever you want, or I could do both. But feedback would be very helpful in that respect. Plus, it feeds the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, I'm done yammering about all that stuff. Enjoy the rest of the video and the gameplay, and thanks for being here. Please note that even though everything looks like it's happening very fast, this is not time-lapsed. This is the actual speed of the game at this level.